How many Game of the Years have we had this year now?
Oh, God.
Blueprints, Donkey Kong Bonanza we thought about for a bit.
Yeah.
Night Rain for me, Clair Obscure for you.
I'm not looking forward to doing our show at the end of the year.
I mean, not to mention the more typical AAA Game of the Year contenders, things like Death Stranding 2, Indiana Jones, Ghost of Yotei still to come. I've also still got Metro Prime 4.
Yes.
At the point of recording, Hades 2, and other games to come. But I find it hard to believe now that something is going to come along and eclipse Hollow Knight Silksong.
Is it that good?
I've never been in a rush for this game. Like, I'm honestly never in a rush for any game. I wish every game took the time it needed to make it to the standard of quality that Silksong is. You can feel every day of its 7-year development in the same way you could with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And Tears of the Kingdom is a good comparison point, actually, for a sequel needing to follow the shadow of a masterpiece and find a way of eclipsing it. And Silksong does take everything that made Hollow Knight amazing and improve it to such a high degree that it makes it look easy.
Yeah.
And that's where you can feel the experience of the devs getting the balance of this game right in isolation in terms of its own game, but also then as a successor to one of the most celebrated Metroidvanias of all time. And pun absolutely intended, they nail it. The exploration in Silksong is as good as exploration has ever been in a 2D game. Every area is terrifying and intriguing. You don't want to poke around and you can't stop yourself. It's that combination that makes like Dark Souls so successful. You're rewarded so much for poking around as well and discovering all the secrets that are in the game. Sorry, I'm sure it's chewing gum out. The map is astonishingly open as well. You can go in any direction at any point. I honestly don't know how you design a game like this. It's so organic. It's so open. It's so versatile. For the first probably 20 or 30 hours of playing this game, I was comparing progress with friend of the show, Casper, at various moments. And we were always pretty careful trying not to give spoilers to one another. But for so much of the game, we'd attempt to touch base about an area or an ability or a boss and discover that the other had just no clue what they were talking about, despite having put 20 hours into the game themselves. Like, I haven't watched any speedruns of the game yet, but I imagine that you can probably complete the game without needing to go to, I don't know,
that's it.
Probably 3/4 of the world. Even after I'd 100%ed the game, I'm still finding secrets and things to discover. It's truly extraordinary. The other thing that this game steps up from the first is the difficulty level, which was already very high in Hollow Knight. And I liked the way that actually the devs explained this in Silksong, is that the Hornet, who is your protagonist in Silksong, she is immediately much more skilled than Hollow Knight. She's a much higher ceiling for her abilities given her nature. You are much faster for a start. You're given so many tools and mechanics to put at your disposal, so many different build potentials as well that you can customize your play style, like not just to your personal tastes, but also change it for the different circumstances you're facing in the game. Like, the key to overcoming some bosses lay in the minutiae of what tools and abilities I customize my build with, but also the tried and tested loop of trying and testing the bosses and failing and learning and trying again. It's still as satisfying as it has ever been. And there were certainly some bosses in the game that I honestly thought at times I would never beat.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to beat this, until you just glimpse just a little chink in their armor or a little window in their attack patterns that you could exploit. And that feeling you get when you finally beat them, like fist pumping in the silence of your own lounge, is unparalleled. Another area of the game that is just unfathomably well balanced is the combat. Like, given the amount of different ways in this game that you can fight, the abilities you can use, the specific mechanics of each combat crest that you can have, then coupling in the fact that you can take on so many of these bosses at so many different points in your game as well, to then cater for that, it's mad. Everything just feels so good, so insanely satisfying when you pull off some silky, slick fighting, mixing abilities and dodges and jumping and gliding and parrying. It's unreal. It blows my mind. It's like I said, it makes it look effortless because of how much work has gone into it. I enjoyed Nora, my daughter. She watched me quite a bit playing it. She had some suggestions when I was struggling with some of the boss fights. I thought I'd offer a selection of what she floated in case anybody else is listening and needs some help. Try using your needle. Hornet fights with a needle.
Yeah.
I know. I can find you a hole to hide in. Can you ask it to sit?
Can
Which
you?
I liked.
Can you? No.
I know. When the boss is gone, just run away really quickly.
Again, great strategy.
Absolutely. And then she said, why are you not good at this game? And I said, because it is a famously hard game. And she said, play another game then. I think it does say something about the level. I think it says something about the level of difficulty in this game, but also it says so much about my character that I would frequently take breaks away from Silksong when it was getting too hard and play Night Rain to chill out.
just have a relaxing time.
It's ridiculous, but it's true. Another area of the game that I think is stepped up hugely from the first game is the level of the platforming in the game. It was already very, very good and tricky in Hollow Knight, but it's something that was blown out of the water by Eterna Noctis when I played that. And I would put a lot of very good and bad money on the fact that the devs must have played Eterna Noctis at some point during the development of Silksong, taking some inspiration from it, because there's clear reminiscences of that game here. It's very, very hard at times, very frustrating at times, but it was always my fault, and it was always within my power to get through it. So obviously, when you do, you feel brilliant. Something that won't get probably a lot of attention in like the coverage of this game is just how good the writing is. The world of these games are just fantastic. There is so much deep lore, all contained within this ridiculous, grim, cutesy bug exterior. Like, it's so epic. It doesn't care that it looks cute. It doesn't care that it's bugs. This is a full dark fantasy world, and I just love how much they own that. But also, like, the tone of the writing is always incredible. Like, the intricacies of the dialogue between some of these different characters, including Hornet, who's a vocal protagonist. There's so many amazing characters with brilliant characteristics, frequently hilarious, frequently undercutting expectations, all brought to life with some of the best and most detailed animations I've ever seen in a game. Every single instance has been considered when animating Hornet. Like, the tiny little inflections of character work in the supporting characters speaks volumes and tells a story all of its own. It is unbelievable. Like, at every single point in the development of this game, they must have stopped and just said, have we got something for that? It's like, they're not doing anything. What can they do? You know? All of this like level of detail spreads to the world design, the different biomes, the areas. Everything has its own rule set, its own palette within, the general world aesthetic. It all fits together beautifully and organically with so much nuance in every single element that's been like designed with clear and proper purpose. This also spreads to the sound work in the game, which is mind-blowing. The music is stunning for a start, some beautiful, haunting themes. The fact that music itself plays a part in the story and the character of the Hornet too is amazing. There's you get to string silk down your needle to turn it into an instrument that you can then play, and that is just astounding. The sound design is exceptional. The sort of buggies language that they talk is just adorable and brilliant. It says so much whilst also being gobbledygook. Like, the way that the acoustics of all the sound effects change depending on what the space is like, echoing around the vast halls of the Citadel or dampened out in the narrow tunnels underground. Everything has a sound effect. It all just works together so organically, along with all these other elements that just make this world feel so real and tangible and crawling with life. Another thing that probably won't get as much coverage as it deserves is the haptic feedback in the game. Like the HD Rumble 2 of the Switch 2, I mean, it's got the ability to convey some really beautiful details and subtle ones at that, meaning that every little footstep of Hornet is felt, and that changes just slightly depending on the surface that you're running on. Feeling the pitter-patter of the rain, the clanging of ancient bells, the vast rumblings of the bosses. Just it is an absolute treat. I fully understand that the difficulty level in Silksong will put some people off, but it's not a game that is hard for the sake of being hard. It's not obnoxiously difficult. You know, it
Mm.
knows what it is, but it has a reason for how it's doing literally everything. Again, you can feel every single day of its long development time. Like, it is as close to a perfect game as you can imagine for what its clarity of vision is and how completely it then delivers on it.
Yeah.
And the game is huge. It took me 56 hours to finish it.
Wow.
And that was at 96% completion. It took me another few hours to bring that up to 100%. And bizarrely, there's still stuff I need to do, so I'm not sure how they're working that percentage out.
101% Donkey Kong style.
Yeah, the game is split into sort of 3 acts. The story is split into 3 acts, and it actually rolls credits for the first time after Act 2, before it then goes into its enormous, epic, and I won't spoil it, 3rd act. There'll be some other adjectives that can go in there and nouns. I mean, like, bringing it back to what I was saying about Pokemon Legends Z2A, a lesser, greedier developer could very, very easily have sold Act 3 as DLC. But Team Cherry took their time to make sure that they could deliver a complete game and not let the voraciously salivating fan base feel shortchanged, which is also, frankly, impossible because it's insanely generous with how the game has been priced, because it's like £20.
Yeah, it's cheap, isn't it?
Again, something some people have quibbled with because it's undercutting other indie developers who can't afford to sell their games as cheaply as that. And other developers also kicked off about the game sort of shadow dropping with their release date trailer preceding the actual release by only like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously that then takes the attention away from any other game that's coming out on the same day or same week or whatever. But it does make me laugh that you can't actually lay that criticism directly at the feet of Team Cherry, because they barely marketed this game for 7 years.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what's made the game so insanely hyped, because they never talk about it. Every single Nintendo Direct would swiftly be followed with chatter about Silksong because it wasn't featured. And that must be hugely frustrating for developers who have poured years of love into a game that was showcased in the Direct to be eclipsed by a game that was not there.
Silksong when?
You know, it's entirely not Team Cherry's fault that they made an incredible game and then they made an incredible sequel, and that they've had to do nothing to make people buy it other than make it. You know, they must be feeling so smug, and I love it. Like, they deserve to feel smug because they've made a masterpiece. Like, Silksong, as with the first Hollow Knight, is filled with some devilishly devious subversions and traps that catch you out and make you go, I know what you're doing, Team Cherry, fuck you. And it's very on brand then that Team Cherry would release the game like this.
Yeah.
If you tried Hollow Knight and didn't get on with it, Silksong is not for you. If you haven't played Hollow Knight and you like Metroidvanias, Souls-likes, platform games, adventure games, tight combat games, and you're up for the challenge, play Hollow Knight first, because you'll need it to warm you up for Silksong, and then you will be in for one of the greatest 1-2s in gaming history.
Big. Game of the year, yeah?